Discussion of proposed areas for the zone is next on the agenda. Then we wanted to try to leave 20 minutes for public comment. So we've got about 20 minutes is all we've got left.
Randy, do you need to leave before?
Need to leave about 1:45, so I'll try to listen to some of it.
Bernie, do you want to try to walk us through the zones again?
Yeah, I guess so.
As they stand?
All right. So there's, from the last meeting, basically three scenarios, map scenarios at this time in your book that are up for discussion. The first is what we call the North Zone. That is this zone right here. It's made up of 8 different census block groups. This is I-70 right here. This is the Route B area. This is 763 range on here. So basically it starts at I-70 and goes up the Route B industrial corridor. Includes portions of, well, a lot of the business loop area right through here. These south boundaries are Sexton Road, Garth, 4th, over to Wilkes. This is one census block group. This is one. This census block group here was added last time because we do have a company that's looking at Columbia. This is the only facility that would work for them. It's a manufacturing firm, so that was looking at this group here. Basically, these other areas are included because of the concentration of manufacturing firms, larger employers, industrial sites, and in some cases a few office sites. So again, this is the Route B area. You have companies over here such as Quaker Oats, PepsiCo, 3M, Kraft Foods, Environmental Dynamics, Engineered Plastic Components, a lot of the companies that I've provided to you on the list. Up here you have Honeywell, J.M. Eagle, makes plastic pipe. We have sites up here, for example, the Ewing site, the Suter site, the Hinshaw site, east and west, and manufacturers down in this portion, such as American Air Filter, Weaver Manufacturing, and a few empty facilities down here in this area. This is all one census block group here. That includes the old Boone Industrial Park. Several large buildings. There's, for example, a building that MyTech used to be in, 86,000 square feet, is vacant. There's another large building there that has a warehouse distribution company that their building is up for sale. Includes Tower Industrial Park, which is basically right up here around the Prathersville area, which is an established park for future development. And that's generally the nature of this census block group.
Something that piqued my interest is we're looking at adding a zone because we have a business. I don't know how much at liberty you're able to tell us about that, but that would be something, getting back to a previous conversation where if we knew we had new businessmen and we're looking at and trying to have a zone, we ought to be thinking about making sure we include that in the NAICS codes.
Yeah.
So,
well, it is a manufacturing business, so it's in the 31 to 33 NAICS codes. It would be, again, it's a company that has received funding from an outside board of directors that making location decisions, and so incentives are a big issue with them. They're looking at several other cities.
okay.
And they've looked at multiple buildings in the area, and that's the only one that would work if we're going to remain in consideration for it. So I don't think it's anything at all that you would look to exclude in terms of industry type. It's nothing unusual, I would say, or environmentally unfriendly or anything like that. Any questions on that scenario?
I just have a question on the census blocks. Are they identified, are the boundaries identified on here, and I'm just not seeing it? I mean, I see the numbers that tell me.
Yeah,
But
actually,
I don't know how far out, like 15015, for example. What are the boundaries on
yeah,
that?
the first map is has the in your packet is the the best representation of the individual maps.
Okay.
We have to have these maps prepared by the Geographic Resources Center. That's the contract that DED has with them. So they make it difficult to see boundaries. This map here, the orange lines are all the boundaries of the individual census block groups. So this
Okay,
one
thanks.
goes down to here to this little zigzag shape. That's one little census block group
Okay.
there.
Thank you for
Yeah.
pointing that out.
This,
Would it be helpful to, what it was helpful last, is it possible to number these census blocks
number them.
compared to, I mean, on here so we can reference? I'm sorry. maybe-
Yeah, there should be in, like, one of the last maps in here, again, because we have to use so many different map sources. There is, we've numbered them all 1 through 29, and it should be your last, probably your last map. Gives each census block group a 1 through 29 number. So, for example, you can see on here, this 23, 18, 25 is the number that's referenced there.
Okay. I was just. So you're referring to this map?
Yeah, that was every census block group that had been under consideration or discussed in the past, yeah. So, as I mentioned last week, at the last meeting, we also, because the advisory board asked about making the zone smaller, we also looked at doing multiple zones. That would help make the zone potentially smaller. This is what would be the south zone, is proposed as the south zone. And again, this is 4 census block groups. So at your dividing line, this is 4 census block groups. This one goes all the way to this line. That's
Okay.
1 census block group. This is 1 census block group right here. And to orient you, this is Lamone Industrial Park. This is Discovery Ridge over here. Okay. This is 1 census block group with Rock Quarry Road being the dividing line right here. This is the area across from Discovery Ridge Research Park, regional office area. The new high school is out there, conservation department, just to orient you. And then this,
Actually not.
was that?
New high school's north.
Oh,
the new Catholic high school.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Catholic high school. And then this is the 4th block group right over here. This includes areas such as the land that State Farm owns north of their area. There's 100 acres, they just sold 25. It includes some office sites in buildings like the Buttonwood office building has 10,000 square feet available, 3rd floor, and some office type developments. We don't really have a lot of office sites in this particular area, so that's, any questions? I provided at the last meeting a map of just kind of the dot map that identifies sites, businesses that potentially could be eligible and available buildings. So up in this one, most of it is concentrated here. This is the Columbia Jobs Foundation site. Own 22 acres, options on about 160 acres total. Companies down here like OatsCon, which is manufacturer. You have another couple of small manufacturers here, warehouse, distribution, trucking, Tradewood Industrial Park. So for this particular track, most of your activity, industrial, commercial stuff here. Again, Lamone Industrial Park, they have quite a few manufacturers. It's a mixed-use business park, office and industrial users here. An empty building that's 131,000 square feet. Of course, Discovery Ridge is future development for probably more professional, technical type projects coming out of university or being attracted here. And again, most of these would be available sites, buildings, regional companies that would be more like in the information or insurance. again, that would have at least 51% of their sales coming from outside the area. Let's see, this would be a location for a lot of those type of companies, some of the financial services. And then, let's see, we had one other as an alternative that we were asked to propose about if you wanted to combine the two and just make one zone. What this map does is took out this particular census block group, and then we connected them by adding this number 12, census block 12, 28, and 29 from your map to connect as one zone here, if you wanted to do one zone as an alternative. So those were basically the three maps from the last meeting, and then
12, 28, or 29 encompass, can you just clarify encompass what it is? 12 is I-70 and 63, so it's the south and west of I-70 and 63.
That's also Stevens Lake Park, is there?
Yeah, that's over there. And 28 and 29, honestly, are mostly residential. We just looked, we were asked to provide an option as a way to connect them and still have the zone qualified.
They are, just trying to think a little bit north of that.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah.
East. So then Stevens neighborhood is in there, as well as the neighborhood. It's just,
I think
Is there, I'm sorry, is there, I'm just trying to think, is there any businesses in that area that would, I'm trying to think.
In those, in the connectors,
Yeah.
not,
The reason I bring that up is we'd be impacting an awful lot of people.
sure.
And just trying to,
I
and
understand,
I bring that up just
yeah, no, I,
impacting an awful lot of people just to try to get.
yeah, I've driven it.
From the versus having two zones.
28 and 29 are almost exclusively residential. Yeah. So your options, I mean, if you look at total census block groups, that one's 8, and this is 4, which is a total of 12. If you did this, this is 14 census block groups. So, yeah. Again, that's what we've
So
produced
is
so
that the-
far.
I'm sorry, is that discussion then led to requesting that look at it in 2 pieces?
Right. We kind of eliminated as much of the pure residential, unfortunately, since the blocks include residential.
Right.
So we're trying to minimize that, so that's why we looked at, can we do 2 of them?
Questions or discussion?
yeah, when I spent a lot of time trying to get to know the zones better since last Friday. And I did that by, in part, driving around the zones, in part, looking at Google Maps and just going over. They've recently updated their satellite imagery of Columbia. Looks like within the last 3 or 4 months, because the area over just to the east of Range Line, where they're putting in a new auto lot. I don't remember which. The new Honda dealership is going over there.
Range line banner?
Yeah, right there. It's cleared in the Google image, which it's only been cleared for pretty recently. So I tried to get a better picture in my mind of what we're looking at here, and I also tried to look pretty carefully at the data that we have, so the limited data snapshot that we get from the DED run. And I noticed with the data that the new zone, the new block group that's been proposed to add to the north zone has by far the lowest poverty numbers within the north zone. Whereas every other current block group within that zone has 44% and above, and most of them are 60% and above. That one is 32% or 31%, depending on if you're looking at the state or county. there are also a great number of homes in that area. And the kind of the third thing I was thinking about with regard to the north zone is all those blockers. That was looking at that one got me thinking of what existed just right around I-70 there, and the group that is just to the south of that, where it goes along Sexton Road, so kind of what would be the western edge. There are a lot of residents, you know, and a lot of affordable housing residents live in there. And I don't want to see those people displaced. That's not our decision, you know, but these are residents who are going to be impacted who already might be struggling to make ends meet. And I'm just concerned about those risks. And so trying to think of
Would you elaborate on that a little bit? You said displaced. I don't know if I'm following you on that.
Nothing that we do is going to directly displace anyone, right? All we're doing is creating a map.
I mean, maybe we can get some jobs. Okay, so okay.
Right, but the concern that I have is if we make, what we're doing, as I see it, is making whatever map ends up being proposed, and if one is approved, makes it more desirable for businesses to locate within the map than not within the map. Right. And it has the potential to make real property more valuable for commercial uses than residential uses because of that. And so my fear is, or my concern would be, that a commercial user looking for a plot of land to either build, expand, grow, would see neighboring residential plots as as potential targets for land acquisition.
Then you got planning and zoning on a lot of things, I think, to help protect us from that. I look at it a little bit different. If we can get someone in that region, then the people can have access to good jobs and health insurance where they don't have to be displaced to go to someplace. That's where so I'm looking at it different than you are. So I like your side. I like to look at all sides of it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we have a lot of other requirements that somebody couldn't come in and take the whole neighborhood out because they wanted to do something. Because we've got a lot of other layers that we have to go through.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the resume with that issue too, because there is a lot of residential there. But as I was thinking of that area, there's a lot of homeowners there too, not landlords. So, yeah, I got a house over there, you want to build something, pay market value.